Hey, what's good? I'm doing part 2 of the spoilers. So I left off with this card in the last video, so let's continue on. So, this is their mount card. And it's actually not terrible. I read most of them and it's not too terrible. I don't have to figure out what I want to use for the mount deck or the horse mounts and what I'm not going to use. So I just had to figure out and see how this is going to go. And then the art for this is really cool too. It's not a terrible card either, so it's not the best, but it's not the worst. So it's more specific to the tribes of the set. So, but this card's insane. I was reading this and it was like, holy cow, what were they thinking with this? Because like, you get a +1/+1 counter when you play a land, and then for 5 you do double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that card. Yeah, that'll be going in a lot of decks. Just as a generic, like, I can just buff all my horses and yeah. So the commander when I play this card will probably be Kenrith, because I can give everything trample, and yeah. So, and then this is just gorgeous art for this card. So you get to make a 3/3 white angel creature token wall with flying. So again, just gorgeous art, and the card's actually not terrible for 2 mana. So, and then this card's actually kind of adorable. It's not terrible either. Because when you sell it, then you get to return it, the creatures to your hand. So it's not terrible in a way, but if your opponent has a discard card where each opponent discards their hand, then it can be kind of not so great. So, but it's pretty good. And then the reason why this is here is that create a token that's a copy of a target artifact or creature you control. So it's just generically another copy spell or create a token. So if I have Crystal Summer on the field, then I can create a copy of it. So it's not bad for 4 mana essentially. So, and then this card's actually really cool too. So the second and third effect I will probably use more often. The first effect will probably be more for the horse dredge build. So, yeah. So, and then this card's actually pretty cool too. So you tap it, add 2 mana of any color, spend it to cast a mount or a vehicle spell. So that may be an auto clue as well for mounts and vehicles. So that card's actually really neat for design. And then this card's really cool too. So if you, the crime mechanic is actually pretty fun. I was reading, I was like, oh, that's actually really fun. So if you target an opponent's targeting opponents, basically anything, then you commit a crime, and then you can cast it as an instant spell, and then be able to take control of a target creature. So yeah, that's pretty fun. And then this card's actually really good too. I was reading this, and I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good. So, for essentially anything, really. So for the dredge deck or for regular horses, like that's a really good card. And then I was looking at this, is like this card's actually really good too. So you can essentially tap your non-token creatures and make a copy of a token you control. So if I already have a horse token, then I can make more. So for essentially tapping my creatures. So I was like, oh yeah, that's really, really good. And then this art's just epic. It may not be one I use, but the art's just so good. So, and then there'll be there's a couple more. So this is their style card. So you essentially make a 1/1 white sheep creature token whenever it attacks. So that's not terrible. And then this is what I was excited for. So I woke up this morning and both these were essentially revealed. So I'll do one at a time. So it's essentially 2 mana. And yeah, you guys can read the card. I mean, you essentially lose life where it attacks, but if I'm gaining life, that doesn't really matter. So yeah, but it also has if it isn't sold, otherwise each opponent loses that much life. Ooh, okay, that's actually really interesting. I didn't read that last part. I was just more excited for the horse than anything. So scroll over to this one. So that way you guys can read. So this is also really good too. Because it sacrifices it at the next end step. So essentially you can copy it across the somewhere and then be able to make a copy of it, and then during end phase make 2 horse tokens. That's really, really good. That's really, really good. So yeah, so that's basically it for the spoilers. There'll probably be more out, but this is mainly what I was wanting to cover for these videos, yesterday's and today's. So, or Saturdays and Sundays, basically. So yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Alright, later.